Hey, how are you? Welcome to the Coding Zoo. This is the JavaScript Building Blocks series. My name is Shane. I hope you're having a great week. I'm having an excellent week. It is getting hot in Texas, man. So thank goodness for air conditioners. In today's lesson, we are going to cover the interface, or rather the method on the promise object called race. In the previous lessons, we covered how to use promises. We covered how to use promise.all. And in this lesson, we're going to learn how to use promise.race. So if you're not familiar with that, stick around and we're going to jump right into that. All right, hey, so let's get started. On my screen here, I have a main.js. It is included in an index.html. If you look at this main.js, I have some code already prepared. This is some of the code from our last lesson where we covered promise.all. You'll see I have a function called finished. It's an arrow function, and it writes out something to the screen. I also have 1, 2, 3 promises. Now these promises will basically call set timeout, and that timeout will resolve in so many seconds. So for example, this set timeout function will run behind the scenes in 8 seconds, which is 8,000 milliseconds, and it's going to resolve with this string. This one's going to run in 5 seconds, and it's going to resolve with this string. This one's going to resolve in 1 second, which is 1,000 milliseconds, and it's going to resolve with this string. So that's how these 3 promises work. I'm kind of emulating, maybe talking across a network or doing some things in parallel, something that is asynchronous. Well, before I had it where my use case was that I want all 3 of these promises to basically finish before I do something else. And that something else was I would call the function finished. So I used promise.all, passed in the 3 promises, and when all 3 promises were finished, then it would call this code here. Well, now I'm going to give you a different use case. Let's say maybe this is a search routine or something, and I'm doing like different searches a certain way by calling different systems across a network or something, right? Something like that. Let's just say that basically I've got 3 different processes I want to call asynchronously in parallel, and I don't want to wait on all 3 of them. I want the first one that returns, the first one that finds something. I want to get the output of that first one. I don't care about the other 2. I just want these 3 processes to go do something, and the first one to finish that task. I want the output from that. How would I handle that? How would I write something that would know just take the output from the first one, whichever one finishes first? Well, you would do that with promise.race. And of course, that makes sense, right? So these 3 promises are racing, and the first one that makes it finishes the task, hey, it wins the race, right? So that's the basic gist of it. So I'm going to go ahead and change this to promise.race. Well, before I do that, let's show you the promise.all running. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how the promise.all works, and then we'll see the difference with how the race makes it work. And I'm going to open up that file. So it loads up, doesn't appear like anything's happening. Let's see if it finishes. There it goes. So all 3 promises ran, and when they were all done, then it called the finished function. The finished function says I'm done with all. So if you go back and look at the code, you'll see that they have the 3 promises, and finished is called when they're all done, and it writes out I'm done with all. Okay, I'm going to change this up. I'm going to write it to I have found the result you are looking for. Now I'm also going to change this from all to race. So again, this use case is I don't want to wait for all of them. I want to wait for the first one that finishes, and I want to get the input from the first one. Whichever one's faster, that's what I want. I don't care about the results from the other. I've got promise.race. I pass in my 3 promises, and then once one of them finishes, we call I have found the results you're looking for in the finished function. We write that to the screen. Okay, I'm going to change this up a little bit. I'm going to put this around, let's say, 3 seconds, just so it's not immediately happening. So if we look at how this is coded, this is going to be 8 seconds, 5 seconds, and 3 seconds. So it should have promise 3 done. Promise number 3 should be the one that returns, because it's going to take the least amount of time. It's going to win the race. So I'm going to save it, go back to my screen, and click refresh. And boom, promise 3 is done, and I found the result you're looking for. So it didn't wait for the other 2 to finish. It didn't wait for this one or this one to finish. The first one that finished, it took the results and it printed it out, and it also called this function finish. Here's where it printed out promise 3 done. Promise 3 done. So that's it. That is called promise.race. Again, if you have some asynchronous processes going on, you don't care which one comes back first. Whichever one comes back first, you want to take that data and run with it. Then you would use promise.race. If you wanted to wait on all 3 of them to return and use all the data, then you use promise.all. Pretty simple. Hope that makes sense. Hey, if you have any questions, leave me a comment below. If you are new to the Coding Zoo, we are going to have more JavaScript videos, HTML videos, and pretty soon we're going to have some Java, possibly Python videos. I've been talking about that for several months now. It's going to happen. It's coming soon. Definitely this summer, probably within the next few weeks. If you are new and you want to see more videos, click subscribe. It's down below. And if you like this video, click like. If you click subscribe, be sure to click that alert button so it'll let you know when we have videos. And we usually have 1 or 2 videos a week. Again, thanks for joining, and I hope you have a great week.